Hello everyone, this is VGTI. We're back to taking on more Half-Life theories, and this is one I can't believe I haven't talked about yet. About a year ago, user Natural Nova requested I do a theory of what happened to Barney following the events of Episode 1. I've covered all sorts of things when it comes to Half-Life, from G-Man's identity to Breen's ultimate fate, so it was like the Barney topic has just been staring me in the face all these years and I didn't even realize. With that being said, thanks for bringing the idea to my attention, Natural Nova. Now, let's get into it. As with all of my theories, we should start off with some context. During the final chapter of Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Gordon, Alyx, and Barney lead a final push to escape City 17 before the Citadel overloads and they're caught in it. This final push takes place at a Combine-occupied train station, with the train serving as a fast means of escape. Leading a group of City 17 civilians, Barney ends up leaving before Gordon and Alyx. That way the two can stay behind and fend off an enemy Strider before hopping aboard their own train. The last we see of Barney is this scene.
Bye, Barney. Good luck.
See you when I see ya.
Fast forward to Half-Life 2 Episode 2. The majority of the game involves Alyx and Gordon making their way through the Outlands, a forested area outside of City 17 that leads to the White Forest Resistance Base. Episode 2 features plenty of action-packed emotional moments, and we get to see all of our favorite characters over the course of its story. All except for Barney. While the cliffhanger of Episode 2 was bad enough, thank you Half-Life Alyx for fixing that, the complete absence of Barney Calhoun was downright bizarre. To make things even more bizarre, Barney is never once mentioned in Episode 2 by the other characters. There was a brief moment of hope when players noticed they could hear Barney in White Forest after the game's Strider battle finale.
Yeah! Hey! Gordon Freeman!
Good job, Gordon.
This, coupled with the subtitles color matching Barney's lines, led many to believe he was there with the other rebels and that this was the game acknowledging that. Unfortunately, Mark Laidlaw later confirmed that this was indeed an accident. So that puts us back at square one. What happened to Barney Calhoun? Where could he be? There's not a whole lot of info to go on, so let's break down what we do have. As noted, Barney and his fellow Resistance members ended up leaving on their own train before Gordon and Alyx did. Due to this, it's safe to assume their train was not blown away by the Citadel explosion like Alyx and Gordon's was. This is how Episode 2 opens after all, with Gordon crawling his way out of the wrecked train carriage. Thanks to their substantial head start, this means Barney and the civilians kept on riding the train further out into the Outlands. From here, it's pure speculation, as no other info on Barney has been gleaned from anywhere in Episode 2. Here's my theory. Barney and the civilians most likely got off the train at a stop further down the line, or hopped off mid-ride to avoid any Combine forces at other train stops. From there, Barney would lead the group to the White Forest base, though he's clearly not there anywhere at the end of Episode 2. The weird thing about this theory is how little there actually is to go on. There's no grand conspiracy at play here. In fact, it's rather straightforward. With the Strider battle at the end of Episode 2, it's safe to say if Barney and company were at all close to the White Forest base during that time, the uproar and explosions would likely lead them there. Unfortunately, Episode 2 ends before we get to see that happen. Basically, Barney had his own adventures off-screen, but his end goal was likely the same as Gordon's, just from a completely different path. That leads us to the elephant in the room, Half-Life Alyx. There's not a lot to find about Barney in this game either, though there is an interesting room you can find that seems to give a nod to his character. Quite possibly, it's a room he used as a hideout at some point. I love the little environmental details Valve puts in their games like this. Sadly, because of when Alyx takes place in the Half-Life story, this hideout doesn't exactly give us any clues. Where we really want to direct our attention is the ending of Half-Life Alyx. Thanks to G-Man's time shenanigans, he's now placed Alyx under his control as an agent to do his bidding. In exchange for this, Alyx was able to jump to the future and save her father from being killed during Episode 2's ending. History has inevitably changed as a result, but not the past. Rather, all future events will now unfold differently. This means the events of Episode 2 that we all know and love played out exactly as before, with the only difference now being what happens following Eli's survival. This includes everything Barney got up to off-screen. Alyx's actions didn't change any of that, and Barney is still headed to White Forest just like before. Honestly, this opens up a perfect opportunity for Valve. While I do really want the next big installment of Half-Life, it would be so cool to see Valve put out a side story focusing on Barney's actions after Episode 1. It wouldn't have to be a long game by any means, and it would be extra cool playing it in virtual reality, in the same style as Alyx. There's a whole lot of potential for a game there, especially considering the amount of stuff Barney has been doing off-screen during Gordon's travels. I feel as if Barney, in general, has a lot more going on than meets the eye. Seeing how he got his own expansion with Blue Shift for the first Half-Life, I'd be all over a new expansion exploring Episode 2's events. Between Gordon and Alyx, Barney is basically a third main character. So that's my theory. Definitely not as weird or mind-blowing as some of my other ones, but that's just due to how little we actually know about Barney's whereabouts. The best clues we can find are the events of Episode 2. While nothing about Barney specifically can be found in the game, chances are his activities in the Outlands are shaped by the various things that happen to Gordon and Alyx throughout that part of the story. If my theory ends up being correct, that means we'll be seeing Barney shortly after the start of the next Half-Life game, as he'd be almost to White Forest by then. Maybe then he can give us that beer he owes us. So what did you guys think? Do you have your own theories on what happened to Barney and his fellow Resistance crew? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have something you'd like for me to discuss in a video, let me know and I'll see if I can fit it in. This video was a lot of fun to make, as it tackled a long-running question that's been nagging at me since I played Episode 2. I appreciate you guys leaving requests like these, and it means so much that you stick around and watch these videos. I have several more video ideas for the rest of the year, so watch out for the next upload.